Let's have a look at this. Let's first deal with when f of x is divided by x squared minus x minus 2, the remainder is 4. Let's first deal with that. F of x is divided by x squared minus x minus 2, the remainder is 4. We need to put that in equation form. F of x is what we divide by, multiplied by the answer we get, plus the remainder. How does that work? If I take 7 and I divide it by 3, the answer I get will be 2, because 3 goes into 7 twice, and the remainder will be 1. So when I take 7 and I divide it by 3, I get answer 2 and remainder 1. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the quotient. The quotient is the answer you get, and the remainder, we know what the remainder is. Now if you take these numbers, 7 divided by 3, answer is 2, remainder is 1, what you notice is that you can write this as follows. 7, which is the number right at the beginning, is what you divide by the 3 times the 2 plus 1. Look at what's happening here. 7, this is what I divide by, this is the answer, and this is the remainder. And 7 is 3 times 2 plus 1. And all I've done is I've used that same principle to write this down. If I take an expression and I divide it by another, and the remainder is 4, the division is going to give me an answer. The answer is g of x. This is what I'm dividing by, and I add on 4. If this looks daunting and too terrible for words, it's not that tough. Watch. 6 divided by 4. The answer is 1, because 4 goes into 6 once, and the remainder is 4 goes into 6 once, remainder 2. Now what I did is I did 7 divided by 3, the answer was 2, and the remainder was 1. And I said that 7 is what I'm dividing by, multiplied by the answer I got, plus the remainder. And if I work through with the same pattern, I'm going to say 6 is what I divided by, times the answer I got, plus the remainder. And that's all we did. We took now the f of x, and we said that is what we're dividing by, times the quotient, which is the fancy word for the answer we get, add on the remainder. So that's the first thing we had to see when we got the question. We had to realize that we could set up, wrong screen, let me try again. We had to realize that we had to set up here, from here, we took this information when f of x is divided by x squared minus x minus 2, the remainder is 4. That information, we took that and we used the property that I've shown you and illustrated with the 7 times 3 equals 1. And we got this expression here. There we go. So f of x is indeed x squared minus x minus 2 times g of x plus 4. And I'm going to delete that other part because I want to finish my question underneath there. That other part was just to explain to you how I got this line. And the easiest way to understand that is to understand 7 divided by 3 and how you can write 7 divided by 3 as 7 equals 3, the answer, times 2 plus 1. So if I do the 7 thing here, it would be 7 is 3 times the answer, because 2 is the answer, 3 goes into 7 2 times, plus the remainder. And that's all I've done. I've taken the information that was given and I've written it in that form. Okay, well now I can go to the question. The question says, find, and hopefully you've written it down, because I asked you to write it down and you were well behaved as students back at home. Essentially, the question says, find the remainder when f of x is divided by x plus 3. Now you have to say to yourself, what does the remainder theorem tell us? If I'm dividing by x plus 3, I must work out the remainder, which is going to be f of minus 3. There we go. Remainder is f of minus 3. How do I work this out? I simply have to replace all the x's with minus 3. How do I work out the function value of a number? I go to the function and I replace all the x's with that number. X squared minus 3 squared. X minus 3. X minus 3. And now work this out. Let's work this out. We've got minus 3 squared, which is 9, plus 3, 12, minus 2, 10, times g of minus 3 plus 4. And what do we know about this? We know that the f of minus 3, and the f of minus 3, according to the theorem, is the remainder, that is the case. Now the question also tells us that the remainder, when we divide by f of x, or when we divide by g of x, we get the same remainder. And the question asks us to work out that remainder. The question says, find the remainder when f of x is divided by x plus 3, if it is given that f of x and g of x leave the same remainder when divided by x plus 3. Now if we look at our screen, we need to really understand what this f of minus 3 is. And we need to really grasp what this g of minus 3 is. And I'm going to try and explain again. Here, if you divide f of x by x plus 3, what does the remainder theorem tell us? The remainder theorem tells us that the remainder is this which I've highlighted. Here, it's g. So if we divide g of x by x plus 3, what does the remainder theorem tell us? The remainder theorem says, if g of x is divided by x plus 3, the remainder is g of minus 3. This which I have highlighted is the way we write the remainder. And this here is the way we write the remainder when we divide f of x by x plus 3. And the question tells us they're the same. So let's get clever and let's turn this into a variable, say k. And this would then also be k, because the question tells us that they are the same. This is the remainder for this division. This is the remainder for that division. And the question tells us they're the same. So let's solve for k. Minus 9k, if you take the 10k over, k is minus 4 over 9. And that k is the remainder.
Keep this frequency clear. Keep this frequency clear.